What up, Team Happy and Fit? Happy Thursday. I don't even know what today is. What is today? It is the 20th. Happy April. What in the world? April 20th. I'm really excited to have our guest speaker tonight, Riley, as my pen's getting stuck in my hair. But before we do that, I want to give a big shout out to our Rock the Basics crew. You guys, when I started off as a coach, you have to understand that all of us start from the same spot. Like, we're at the top of our own businesses, but I was hungry. I was hungry for growth, and what grew me were these trainings. What grew me was YouTube. What grew me was Googling or just Googling answers. I didn't have a sponsor holding my hand. She was never really ever there. And then even her sponsor wasn't really there. So for me, I check my messages once a day. So don't lean on someone else to be the person that's answering all your questions, but your sponsor is there for you. But also, everything seriously in Google. And these trainings are the real deal. I did them. They work. But the thing is you can't just be in them and not implement them. Does that make sense? You got to be walking the walk. And you got to be, I like saying this, don't talk about it, be about it. So those trainings are huge. So congratulations, you guys finishing that up. The Diamond Masquerade crew, like, keep it going. A lot of you were messaging me about your carryover volume and just going like, oh my gosh. It just was this thing, or like, I don't understand it, but that's good. Stay hungry for that. I don't think I understood it, until like now. So it's just something that you have to do. The more you learn about it, the easier it'll get. We are heading to Punta Cana, some of us, this week. And what that means is that when you hit Success Club, every single month, you can get a trip paid for. So last year, I took my mom to the Bahamas and Jamaica. When I say it's all paid for, you guys, it's all paid for. Last time they gave me like $600 that covered my airfare. This year, they're giving us, I think, $750 room credit in the Dominican Republic. So when I say it's free, it's all inclusive. You literally are just on the beach hanging out. It's not you're not really like working at a desk. Like, you're literally on the beach having fun. The next one's going to be in Mexico. I remember watching people go to Mexico and like, I want on that trip. So please follow me on Snapchat, not to compare yourself, but to be inspired, because I watched Sarah Morrison. I was like, I need to get on that trip. I was scared, and I did it, and I'm not looking back. It's an amazing time. Huge shout out. Kim Meyer is 1-star qual today. What that means is she has to go 6 weeks. This is her. So she has 5 more weeks after today to qualify for 1-star. It's pretty amazing. So if you are in Kim Meyer's direct downline, you play a huge factor in that. You staying active, right? You still continuing to build momentum in your business. Her goal and the team's goal, Rise and Fit, is to go elite this year. And 1-star is just another step to that goal of elite, which is really amazing, which is another shout out to Kara, who's our newest Team Happy and Fit Diamond. I'm so incredibly proud of that. She's part of the Masquerade. This Masquerade training is real. Like, it's just getting real. I see a lot of you that are in it that have changed your businesses within the last few weeks, which is really, really cool. It's the 20th. I still have a goal to get about 8 more Success Club points. I am currently at 10. If you're at 0, you have plenty of time. You guys, you may not believe me, but I've been in this almost 3 years. Success Club and sharing this opportunity is going to lead you to a life of freedom. And you are going to give that freedom to someone else. Hitting Success Club is so important. Julianne, I don't know how to hit it. I'm hearing a lot of you are hitting objections. Yep, you're not the only one. Me too. I get a lot of objections. So that tells me have more conversations and post to objections. I love posting to objections through my messages before the objection happens. So something like, hey, I'm interested in your boot camp. Tell me more. I'll be like, yeah, I'm really excited to tell you about this. I was really hesitant to get in a boot camp because of the price. Like, lead with your objection that you had to relate to them, or do an objection post on your wall. Get creative, have more conversations, keep fighting the good fight. This business, you are going to go up and down. I had a leader reach out to me today, and we were just grinding it out. I was telling her all of my difficulties. within the last few days. She was telling me her difficulties within the last few days, but I've been in this long enough to know that I'm going to get through the storm, right? When things are a little bit weird in my business, I just know that me putting one foot in front of the other, it's all going to work out if I continue to believe that. So I'm just encouraging you, if you guys are feeling stuck, and if you're not, you will at some point or another. But I think that's what separates the champion from the average. Honestly, we're all going to have difficulties. We're all going to have struggles, but who's going to be the overcomer? I want to be an overcomer, which is huge. So I really encourage you to set that goal for Success Club. I hear some of you go, I'll try to hit it. No, just hit it. Make it your job to hit it. Make it like your job is to work out, because guess what? Your job is to work out in this Beachbody business, right? So make Success Club a non-negotiable. Don't make it, I'll see if I can hit it. No, just do it. Julianne, that freaks me out, you telling me that. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I didn't hit Success Club my first 3 months as a coach, you guys. I've hit it 34 months in a row since. So I get it. I get it. But I'm just telling you, if you want this so bad, this business is so simple. All right. Well, I think that's all of my announcements. So excited to get this call started. I'm really pumped. Riley is someone that has been a part of our team for actually quite a while. And what's really cool about her journey, Riley, I don't even know if you're going to share this, but she started, and I don't know if you were skeptical, but you definitely weren't in it. Like it was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, or maybe both feet out, but didn't quit, which I think is awesome and incredibly rare. And I remember just seeing a lot of potential in her, and Lauren would always talk to me about it of like, man, like she's posting about this, but I know like she's meant to do this. And same thing. And I just feel like we just kept that relationship going. And then all of a sudden it was just like, bam, I get it now. I love this. I'm all in this business. By the way, it's weird calling it a business because I feel like it's a lifestyle. Like it's just the best. Like this business requires you to become a better person. Sign me up. But when you are all in, you're willing to fail. When you're all in, you're willing to leap on the other side of fear. When you're all in, Sarah Fried put up a post, had criticism on it, and handle it like a freaking champ because she's all in. She's not going to let a tiny mind rob her from sharing this opportunity with other people, right? So Riley, so excited for you to take this away. Riley is Lauren Lundberg's PS coach. She's in our Diamond Masquerade. Diamond is like right in her reach. She's about to do it. And what's really cool about this is that she messaged me saying, hey, I don't know if you'll let me do this, but I just have so much conviction right now. I have so much passion. I just can't keep it with me. It just can't stop with me. I have to share it. And I'm like, you remind me a lot of me. I get that. Absolutely. So Riley, go ahead and take it away, sister.
Julianne, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so pumped. I've been so nervous about this, but I'm so ready. So I just want to thank you so much. But I have to start off with saying, you heard Julianne just say that I reached out to her to be here today. I've always dreamed of being on one of these calls, you guys. I think probably all of us on here at some point, you are at that point where you dream of being this person that is giving advice and people are looking to and sharing their heart and sharing their journey. And so I just wanted to start off this call, and you guys are probably thinking like, what did this girl do to prove herself to get here? And so I wanted to tell you guys how I did that. So I am not a diamond coach yet. I am not a Success Club 5 every single month I've gone there 2 months in a row, going on 3, maybe 4. But I haven't hit all these major, amazing goals yet. But you guys, I had this feeling of, why would I wait for my dreams to happen? Why don't I make them happen? And so I went out of my comfort zone, even though I didn't know how it was going to go, how Julianne would react. And I messaged her and I asked Julianne if I could talk on this call and just make my dreams a reality. I decided to be the girl that went for it. And the thing is, we all need to be treating our businesses like we're CEOs. And that's what I was doing when I reached out to Julianne. That's what I was doing when I made my dream a reality, instead of waiting for someday, instead of waiting for that day when I am a diamond, instead of waiting for that day when I hit Success Club consistently for a year. I'm not waiting. I'm making this happen, and I'm going with it. And we all have something special to bring to this team, no matter where we are in this business, whether you're Emerald, whether you're at a coach level, whether you're at Kim's amazing level. Like, you guys, you all have something to bring to this team. And the more you share and become a part of this team and let your voice be heard and reach out to other people, the more you're going to get out of this business. So that is why I'm here tonight. And I just decided to be the girl that went for it. So thank you all for hopping on. I appreciate you guys, and I can't wait to share my heart with you. With that being said, I want to start off this. So we're talking about relationships today. I want to start off this call with a story that has impacted my relationships for this business that happened before this business. So I'm also a nurse. Some of you probably know that. I started my career on an oncology, surgery, and gastric bypass floor. So we dealt with obesity, we dealt with cancer, and we dealt with surgeries, fixing people. But one Sunday, I went into work. Not like anyone ever wants to go to work on a Sunday. I went into work. It was a slow Sunday, and I got this patient assigned to me. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll take it. The patient comes up to me, and his family is amazing, freaking amazing. And they're just people of God, and they're just embracing life. And so I learned about this patient. This patient's name is Melvin, and they're just like this amazing family of God. They're genuine. They're just embracing life, right? And so I had to spend a lot of time with their family that day. Melvin came in and was saying just a few words. He couldn't talk. He couldn't walk. He couldn't move. And he had leukemia, but they were treating the leukemia, and he was fine. He was living with leukemia, and that you can do that. They were giving him chemotherapy to fight this. And so when he came to me, the doctor spent 5 minutes with this patient, because that's all doctors really have, you guys. I know that's scary, but that's the reality of things. The doctor spent 5 minutes with this family and chalked these patients' symptoms up to an infection that you couldn't tell by labs because of the chemotherapy. And so I was a brand new nurse. I said, okay. And so we gave antibiotics. We gave blood. And for those of you that don't know, when you give blood, you have to sit with the patient for at least 15 minutes just to make sure they don't have a reaction to the blood. So we gave 2 units that day. And so I sat in that family's room for at least 30 minutes. Throughout the 12-hour shift, though, I was spending a lot of time in there building a relationship. I got to know them. We watched The Parent Trap together. We laughed and joked about it. I learned that Melvin, although he couldn't talk, he was gardening the day before. He was obsessed with his asparagus garden. And I joked and I told them how bad I was at growing my asparagus that year. We bonded, we connected, and we built this relationship. And this family started to feel like my own family. And so that was just in a 12-hour shift. But Melvin wasn't improving. He wasn't doing any better. And something inside my gut, inside my heart hearts told me, this isn't right. Something is not right. Why isn't this man improving? He was gardening yesterday. I don't know much yet. I am brand new at this. But man, this can't be right. And so I called the doctor and I said, something's not right. I don't know what. Can we get more tests? And he's like, I think it's just an infection. I'm like, you're probably right. But can we do more tests? And he said, sure, fine. We'll do a head CT. And then I'm like, crap, this family's going to be mad at me. We're going to be wasting money maybe if it comes back negative. What did I just do? And so I went to the family to explain. I said, if this was my family, this is what I would want someone to do for them. And they're like, oh, yep, totally, perfect. Like, we want comfort too. So long story short, Melvin was bleeding in his brain. He didn't have an infection. My gut was right. I get emotional because I remember Melvin, in his mind, he was there, but he couldn't talk. He knew what was going on. He heard the tech and myself talking about his brain bleed, but he couldn't say a word, and his family didn't know. And so I go over to Melvin and I hold his hand after building this relationship all day long with him and his family. And tears are welled up in this man's eyes. And he says to me, and I say to him, sorry, he can't talk. I said, are you frustrated? And he goes, yes. Because he can say one word, that's it. And I said, are you frustrated for your son and for your wife? And he said, yes. And the tears started rolling down his face. And because I built that relationship, because I knew his family, because I knew they were people of faith, because I knew their hearts, I knew I could look him in the eye and 100% say that everything is going to be okay. I knew that I could tell him that. And I just kept telling him that over and over. And so, long story short, he gets back up to his room. The neurosurgeon comes straight down and says, Melvin is going to die. He's not strong enough for cancer. And this is it. And all because I was right. All because my instincts were right. What? That's not the way I want to be right. I wish I was wrong. I wish I would have wasted money on a head CT. I wish that wouldn't have happened. That's how I felt in that moment. And I cried and I broke down. And then my 12-hour shift was over and I had to go home. And I cried on the way home. And I thought that I was broken. So I wasn't doing personal development. I wasn't a coach. I didn't have this. I didn't have this gift. And I was lost because I was like, how do I carry the weight of this? And every other patient like this, how do I carry that? Because I'm not taking care of myself, so I don't know how. A few weeks later, one of my coworkers texted me and said, did you see this? And sent me a picture of Melvin's obituary. And his family had mentioned me by name, calling me their angel. And I don't even know what I did to deserve that. I was just a friend. I was just there. I was just advocating. But that's building a relationship, you guys. That is building a relationship. And so you guys are probably thinking, what does this have to do with coaching? Like, this is a nurse. This is what nurses do. 100%. But this has everything to do with coaching. Because now, when I reach out to make relationships, it's not to make a sale. Not at all to make a sale. It is to save a life. Because I couldn't save Melvin, and I couldn't save all the other patients, because when they got to me, they were broken. I could help them. I could help them recover from surgery, but I couldn't help them grow their mind. I couldn't help them the way that I needed to and wanted to be able to help them. And in coaching, I'm doing that. I'm saving them before they're there. What? This is a gift. And if you don't see it that way, you need to get out now. And sorry if that's harsh, but you have to see it as saving a life. Not see Success Club points, not see rank, not see any of that. Put that all aside for a second and see the bigger picture. See what God has given you to give other people. And that is how I go in with my intentions when I'm reaching out to people. So that is setting my tone for relationships. That's setting the tone for here. So sip of wine now, right? So I think in this business, you can get lost in the hustle. And I only say that from experience. Especially as a blue leader, when I started hustling, I lost my heart for a little bit. And I had to take a step back. And I only took a step back because I had a success partner that called me out on my heart. It's cool that you can have success partners and call each other out, but she called me out on my heart. Does your success partner do that for you? If not, they should be. 100%. Kaylee does that for me. And so through that, I've learned to, when I'm hustling too hard, to say, whoa, let's take a step back. Are you bringing your heart? Are you bringing intentions? Are you really trying to change a life? And Kaylee brought that for me. And so now in return, I can do the same for her. And so Kaylee and I tell each other all the time, we make the perfect balance, because I start hustling, and she brings all this heart and says, whoa, pull back the reins. We're doing this both together. You're bringing the heart and the hustle. And shout out to Heart and Hustle while I'm on the topic of Heart and Hustle, because what a better team name, right? Lauren has all this heart, and you just see it through her, and she's brought all this heart. And it's so cool to see, because of that, we're changing lives in a whole different way. We're changing lives with our hearts. And I know Lauren always used to say, I'm not a good leader. But it's so funny to me now, because she's one of the best leaders I have ever seen, because she always has the heart. She always cares about people. And that to me is so important. And that should be to you guys too. Another thing, are you passionate? Are you excited? Because I think we all say we're passionate, but sometimes we're just excited. And not that excited is bad, but you have to be passionate in order to make it in this business. You have to be. You have to feel it in your bones. You have to believe in this business all the way deep down into your core. And you can't just be excited because you're excited for healthy workouts and healthy shakes. That's great. Excitement is great. Don't get me wrong. But the reason that I am so convicted is because I feel this in my bones, because I feel this in my heart, because I believe in this so much. And I think if you look at my PS coaches, they were unsure of this business, but then we'll get on a get started right call, and they'll see my passion in my bones, and they'll see my heart, and they'll see my core, and then they decide that this is for them too. Because they feel that. And I feel that with Julianne every time I get on a call with her. The girl's going places, and I'm like, I want in on that. She feels this in her bones. You guys have to do that. You have to bring that. You have to bring that in the conversations you're having with people. So that when they give you those objections, you know exactly how to respond, because you believe in this so much. Oh, let me see here. And then once you're passionate, like, I feel like you'll get the passion for this if you're being passionate about your whole life. Like, passion goes everywhere, whether it be your marriage, whether it be your career, whether it be Beachbody. You have to be passionate about everything you're doing, because otherwise you're just going through the motions. Otherwise you're just mediocre, and it's going to affect the relationships that you're having. If you're not in love with your life, if you're not trying to live the life that you've always dreamed of. Don't get me wrong, life's not always rainbows and butterflies, and it's not just good. I was a hot mess this week, for real, hot mess. But you have to see the beauty in that. You have to see the beauty in the journey, and you have to love yourself through that. And if you don't have any of that, your relationships are going to suck. Those conversations are going to suck. I'm just looking at my notes, see here what else I have here. So my post, I try to be the freaking girl on fire. And I get that through Julianne's post too. Like, people want in on the girl on fire, the guy on fire, whatever. They want in on that. And when they see you with that passion and that conviction, you're going to bring the right people who you want to have relationships in. You have to be on fire with who you are and in love with that. And it doesn't mean you have to spend a whole hour making this amazing post. That's not what I mean. But you have to share your heart in your posts. 100%. You have to share your heart. You can't just post a post. And I'm not saying that because I see that. I'm saying that because I've done that. I've posted just to post. So when we have this great deal on our hands of the 160 challenge pack, that's great. But how are you going to make that with your heart? How are you going to talk about with your heart how this challenge pack is changing your life so that people actually want in on you and this challenge pack? Because any of us can sell a challenge pack, you guys. You got to show them what is good about you. And that's going to be your heart, that's going to be your passion, and that's going to be your conviction. All of those things. I think it's so important also to speak to your niche or your avatar, and because you can build relationships so much easier that way. I've brought on a lot of nurses because I am a nurse and I've seen that struggle. And I think we hear this all the time, but until we start experiencing it in conversations, it's hard to talk to someone all the time if you can't find one area where you don't have in common. And we were on a Heart and Hustle Zoom one time, and I had all my coaches there, and for some reason it came up, and I was like, look, this is what Brittany has that I have in common. This is what Angel has that I have in common. And I just showed them that because they're on my avatar. They're not me, but they have something in common with me, and I don't want them to be me because then I couldn't build that relationship. So speak to your avatar. Write a journal. Like, make it your goal in the next week to write a journal of your avatar. Because I know it's sometimes hard. You can get lost in the image of making a graphic. But sometimes if you just take that pen to paper and write out who you've been, where you were, where you're going, what you want. If you write down all of that, it's easier to speak to your avatar, which makes it easier to speak in your conversations. 100%. So one thing that I did, one of my first posts when I was finding my voice, was I wrote to my 16-year-old self. And I remember this post because it was one of the first ones I didn't copy and paste. I literally wrote to my 16-year-old self because Caitlin Fearing here, one of our youngest Heart and Hustle coaches, she was talking about, I don't know, something she was struggling with. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of me. I need to write a letter to where I was at that point in my life. And it just blew up. And I wrote it. It was the first post I ever had that blew up because I wrote to my 16-year-old self. It was so huge. I also think write to the person who you needed when you were younger. So whoever you needed, whatever that was, dig deep, write to that person because it's going to bring in the conversations that you want to have. And it's going to bring the people you want to follow to build the relationships that you want to build. A huge part of building relationships is not chronic coaching. And I think you all find that out the hard way because you get so excited and you just want to message them back right away. But you got to make them want you a little bit too, if that makes sense. You can't just be going in this conversation. Not that you can't have a few messages back and forth, but it almost seems like you're trying to make a sale and you're kind of desperate for it. And so I always say I reach out to a coach, they'll say no. 3 months later, 3 whole months, I'll come back to them because they're not ready to hear it again anytime before that, you guys. And then usually that 3rd month, they're ready. And if they're not, it takes probably 6 times sometimes to bring it up to someone. I think I told Lauren no for a year, and then I was a discount coach for 1.5 years. Like, people are going to do this on their own terms. And whenever I get frustrated with that, I think about the person that I was. Like Julianne said, I sat back for so long. And now I've haven't lost my hustle since I started running with it. And Lauren told me the other night, she's like, I never saw it being this way. I literally get on Heart and Hustle Zooms and I'm like, I'm going to be an elite coach. I don't know what that means. I'm going to be one. Like, and it's just, I was a discount coach. What? So you never know when people are going to be ready for this opportunity. And so you have to be there supporting them, messaging them when you see they're struggling, messaging them when you see they lost a family member, and being their friend. And so much of being a leader is being a friend. And so much of building relationships is just being a friend, being there for people. I think I had to learn that a little bit, because obviously I just added a bunch of coaches all at 1 month, and I was like, whoa, this is a lot. This is a lot of mentoring. This is a lot of leadership. And I'm like, what do I do? And I found I just have to be their friend. That's all they need from me. Yes, I'll give them advice. Yes, I'll tell them what I'm doing, but they'll come to me with their questions if they have them. They know their resources, and they know that I'm their friend first and foremost. On our team Zooms every week, we always say, what is it? Friends first, business second. And that's what we always say, because it's so true. So you have to just be a friend. That's all you got to do. Don't overcomplicate. Just be somebody's friend. We all know how to do that. Ask questions about their life. I think it was this week, Julianne or Lauren, one of them on our Zoom was like, be interested, not interesting. And that's so huge. Ask those questions. Listen to them. Do not just word vomit. I know we get so excited and we just want to word vomit. I still word vomit sometimes. It's okay. You're failing forward, but you're learning, and take something from that. Be interested. I think another huge thing that I've learned from watching Julianne is to give real, raw shout outs. And like today, Morgan, one of my PS coaches, has a bridal shower Saturday. And so I gave her a real and raw, have an amazing bridal shower. You deserve this. Coaching has taught you to be present for this. I am so excited for you. Just enjoy your day. And once you give those, they feel appreciated. They feel like we're supporting them. That's all you have to do. I gave shout outs like every single day to the most random people. They were just like a few word sentences, but that's how I connected at that time. But now they're just so powerful, and you can get in and get out when you're giving those type of shout outs. Let me see what else. I feel like I'm word vomiting. Julianne, what do you got for me, girl?
Dang, are you all just like, mic drop? Like, I'm ready to go post to my 16-year-old self, which I totally think should be the theme after this call. Where we all literally go make a post to our 16-year-old self and hashtag like to my 16-year-old self or something, so we can see everybody's post. But Riley, sister, like, it's just been really cool to see your growth. And like, if you guys noticed, she's igniting her own passion and connection. Lauren didn't say anything magical for Riley to decide to want this. She had to decide to want it. And I think as a leader, that's just the hardest part, is because we want this for everybody. But at the end of the day, like, you have to make the decision. Can I change my belief that maybe I don't believe I'm successful, but can I change my belief to I can be successful? Or maybe, change those beliefs, those limiting thoughts that you have about your success, and what you can do to change that. That story about Melvin was really powerful, and I love the connection that you made that to coaching, because coaching, this is my favorite thing. Well, I have a lot of favorite things to say about it, but how it's real people. Like, we're real people. Like, some of you are moms on here trying to mom it out, like on the Zoom, and like you're making it work. Like, that's being a mom, right? We're real people. We get real results, not temporary kind of results that are not results at all, right? We build real relationships. We make real posts. We walk the walk ourselves. That's another thing I noticed, like, especially with social media, you guys, what separates this from anything else is that it's literally our journey we're sharing. Like, we are sharing as we're in the trenches, as we're in the valleys, on the mountains, wherever we are, and we're just sharing authentically our walk. And as a coach, you're just constantly transforming. You're not going to always have it all together. So thank you for sharing that story, because that connection was really, really big. and just reaching out to simply just build those relationships is going to impact people, and you're going to become a difference maker, and people will join you when you are convicted, when you are walking the walk, and as you're speaking of like, you don't understand what this has done for me. Like, it can't stop with me. Like, this is selfish if I just leave it here. Like, my heart is what I'm talking about, right? Like, we just got to understand that your empowerment through your social media, your conversations, and all those things is so big. And speak to your avatar. Of course, I'm going to love that, because I hated an avatar for like a year and a half. I don't know. I was at the Alpina Diamond Retreat like 2.5 years ago, listening to a presentation on avatar. I was like, that's not for me. That's not for me. That's not for me. And then, which is so funny because now that's all I speak of. And it hit me where I was like, I want to connect with people. How can I was like, I can't connect with them if I'm not speaking to them, right? Which is awesome. Lauren, do you want to throw anything else out? Like, that was just freaking cool.
I just have to say, like, I'm so proud of you, Riley. It's absolutely incredible. Like, I'm not kidding. When I look back on Riley's journey, she was a coach that would post about Spark. She would post about drinking other products from other companies. So, like, never give up on anyone, because, like, she's blowing me away. When they're ready, they will take off, and they have to find that conviction in themselves. So don't ever give up on them. Always try to steer them in that right direction, like doing the vital behaviors. And once they're ready, that's when it counts. But don't ever give up on anyone. Like,
yeah,
you're incredible.
It's so true. And it's just crazy that this job, I hate calling it a job because it sounds so like 9 to 5 and so like what the normal world is doing. And this is not the normal world. This is like totally against the norm of, it requires you to become a better person, you guys. And there are going to be people who are negative, that are going to go against it, that are going to be critical and skeptics and all that stuff. But like, I can't, it's like that thing on my heart, like that Riley was talking about. It's like, no, like, literally when I think back 3 years ago and who I was and how I thought and how I lived my life to now, what? Like that, no, like people need this. Like they need it more than fitness and nutrition. Like they need it for this entire lifestyle, and you get to be that voice. Let's open it up for questions or comments. You can unmute yourself. We'll go ahead and go with a couple. And then what I want us to do is go hashtag to my 16-year-old self, and we'll write a story to ourselves. So I think that'll be really fun to see that all in the news feed, and we can all support each other on that. Anyone have any comments or shout out or just a question that you have for Riley? And I love that we have 2 guys on. Like, that's what's up. I don't see Nick. So like technically we would have 3. Like it's growing. It's growing. You guys, this is an untapped market. The men in Beachbody, like I wish I was a dude sometimes. Sorry, Eric. But like, I really wish sometimes, just because of like how needed it is, right? Anyone? Questions, comments, anything?
I want to make a comment. I'm like looking up and you're way up there. I just want to make a comment about like how when you spoke about passion and the difference between like being passionate and being excited. I think for so long, I'm like, for Beachbody, I was like, oh, I'm like kind of excited about this. I'm kind of like, yeah, like that's how I would speak to my friends. But like now it's just like totally changed. I don't know what it was, but maybe it was something like just like realizing that this team is just so full of love, and that you guys are so passionate and like collectively. That's why I was just like almost kind of like weird, like this weird balance. I don't know, but like just that just definitely spoke to me, and I was like, yeah, I am passionate about this now, and I want everyone to know about this. So I think that was awesome, Riley.
Thank you. The coolest part of you saying this and being on the Zoom now is this is all because your wife said yes, and because you're kind of like maybe a like skeptical and yeah, whatever. And now look at this, like what? So thank you so much. That means a lot, Eric. It really does.
Anybody else? I'm so proud of this team.
So Hayden has something to say. Hayden loves Riley and was waving at her. Hey, what do you want to tell her? Say, I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
Oh, so cute.
We love you, girl. You did awesome.
That's awesome. You guys, this team, I started this almost 3 years ago. Sarah Freed, her and I were like 2 weeks within each other. And what it's turned into, and you just have to keep going. Like, you just have to paint this vision of what you want and what your tribe to look like. With a lot of you, I've had a lot of tears with, the ones that have been in this with me the longest, and it's just amazing. And I mean, even Lauren, where Lauren was like my first, what was that, 9 or 6 months into the business for me, and she was the first person to finally do anything. You guys, it was like lonely, like just like trying so hard. And she wasn't even my PS coach. Like, you just never know, and you just have to trust this process. And with coaching, you have to celebrate every little freaking win, every little one. And then you just have to keep your eyes like on the prize, like in just this journey and in this process, and just understand that you're going to get through the valley. Like, you're going to get through it, and then you're going to hit it again. And then you just got to have that momentum and that belief that you are capable of such beautiful, wonderful things. And if you have that type of conviction like Riley does, you're literally going to make such a huge impact in this world. So I'm proud to serve with all of you. I'm just proud of you for hopping on and taking your time to do that. I'm going to hit the end